What's going on, Facebook fam? It is me. I am back. Day two of my challenge. Just wanting to kind of go over a recap what we've already discussed. Challenge one was talking about inflation, basically how inflation will fatten the dollar but flatten our pockets. So, yeah, we may have to pay more at the grocery store or wherever we normally buy goods, what they used to be back in the day, back in 77, not necessarily so much today. So, and my example was $100 worth of groceries in 77 is now like $400 today. So we clearly know that inflation has been a silent entity of a challenge that keeps us from making it to our financial goals. The next thing that I'm going to talk about today is debt. And you know what? We all, and I may be wrong, some of us may have never, ever, ever been in debt, never seen debt before. And for those of you, I totally applaud you. But for most of us in the working class world, we've had to encounter debts in some way or another. And whether it has been a good debt or a bad debt, we all have had some form of debt. So we're going to break that down into what types of debts we have. And also, we're going to talk about me a little bit, kind of giving you all an idea of how I ended up in this position to even talk to you to this day. You know, I've seen so many things on the news and conversations at work or conversations and posts in social media on Facebook or wherever the case may be. All over the internet, we've been talking about different things that have plagued our communities in a negative way. So I've always been the kind of person that I like to help. Whenever I can, I'm always the one that tries to make things better with my people. So I decided that what better way to build a community, or better yet, strengthen or rebuild the foundation, however you choose to put it, what better way to reach your community than basically focusing on the wealth of the community. Without wealth or without monetary gains, the community stands silent. It is considered a statistic in today's society. So I figured there was a need for therapy. And what is therapy? Therapy is simply the treatment to relieve or heal a disorder. And in my opinion, there is a disorder in our communities. Anytime we have so many protests just for our people, you know, we have to be considerate of that. We have to really think of that. And also, what is a therapist? I call myself the financial wealth therapist. And why? Well, a therapist is just a person who's skilled in a particular kind of therapy. So when we break down the definition of wealth, wealth is an abundance of a particular kind of valuable possession, or basically money. It could be a state of being rich. It could be a material prosperity type of thing. Um, Also, it's just anything that's plentiful, plentiful supplies of a particular resource. So when we're talking about a financial wealth therapist, it's just a person that's skilled um, in, in knowledge of how to gain that generational wealth, or things that I've learned that I'd like to share with you. So let's get into debt. Give me 1 second. Come on, sweetie. Come on. Sorry. So when we're talking about different types of debts, there are two. There are two different types of debts, and they are considered secured and unsecured. And a lot of it has to do with whether that debt is an installment debt or a revolving debt. So, for an example, a secured debt, your mortgage, your car note, your furniture bill, those are things hey, you know what? They have collateral. If you don't pay them, they can come take your stuff. They can put you out your house. They can take your car from you. They can take your furniture from you. Not only are they going to take your things, um, you're still going to owe for it, and also it's going to go on your credit report. So we have secure types of debts or those installment payments. We also have unsecured types of debts. There's no collateral, it's no physical property, but it's more so like your credit cards and what I consider virtual money. That's all a credit card is to me, is play money that you never really see, but you have to pay back. Something to think about. But as well, even if you don't pay those, it's nothing that they can take, but they're going to threaten you. You're going to get all kinds of phone calls. They're going to penalize you with all kinds of interest penalties and late fees and overdraft, over limit fees and fees and all kind of fees. So now after they threaten you and they penalize you, they just may sue you depending on how much money you actually owe. The unsecured debt is more so of a revolving line of credit. So it's based on your payments are actually based on a percentage of your balance owed. So hypothetically, you have $5,000 credit card. Um, and maybe your credit was kind of spotty. So you got a 24.99% interest rate, which is astronomically high. The average median interest rate is like 16%. So if you have a 25% interest rate on a $5,000 credit card, and say for instance you max that credit card out, so now you have about $200 a month that you're paying. We'll say 4% of your balance. Um, if you only make that monthly payment, it's going to take you 14 years to pay off that balance. I mean, when you think about it, if you calculate 14 years of interest, you're looking at pretty much the amount of the balance that you had. You're looking at a little bit over $5,000 in interest. So not only are you having to pay them $5,000 back, you have to pay $5,000 in interest. All you have to do is do the calculations. They also have calculators if you want to Google them just to make sure. But so you're paying over $10,000 for $5,000 that you borrowed in virtual money. So when we look at revolving debt, um, those are things that usually come from us not having enough income from the very beginning. So if you take the average income in Memphis, Tennessee for one person per capita means per person per year in any given area, any given state, city, or whatever, per capita. So if you're looking at per capita in Memphis, the median income is roughly $22,000 to $23,000. Not a lot. That's roughly $400 a week. $800 a pay period if you get paid every 2 weeks, not a lot. But let's just give the benefit of the doubt and go with the median household income in the state of Memphis, Tennessee, which is approximately $37,000. So say you are making $37,000 a year, even 40, whatever. That's about $700 a week. Okay, $2,800 a month. Not too bad. Not too bad for here. But when you get through and you're looking at your mortgage, I don't know, or your rent, however you choose to live in your home, you're looking at maybe 700, sometimes more, 8, 9. Some people pay more than that. Um, then not to mention your utilities. MLG and Trouble You always is in your pocket. You're going to pay them regardless. You have maybe $200 to $300 for a month for your utilities. Then you have cable and internet, home phone, and you know how cable companies will get. They want you to bundle your stuff. They want you to have all three to get a discounted price for 2 years. So you may end up paying $200 a month for your entertainment. I know now with the new releases of Fire Sticks and Roku's and so forth, we kind of curbed some of those costs. But in the end, people do still have regular cable, telephone, and so forth. Um, so you have your cable, you have your mortgage, you have your or rent, you have your utilities. We haven't even gotten to car note, insurance, gas, food, clothes, outside entertainment. If you're like me and you have this wonderful puppy, vet bills or puppy costs, whatever, you got to feed the dog, you got to make sure the dog is okay. You have all kinds of school activities for kids, and we haven't even gotten into big business. We're talking about holidays and everything else as far as entertainment wise, but that's another challenge that we'll talk about in the next couple of days. When you get through with all that you have to pay for, yes, a lot of us turn to credit cards. Oh, I'll just get this credit card. It'll just be for emergency purposes. I'm only going to use it for when I really need it the most. Okay, so you get your paycheck. You missed a day or two. Paycheck's a little short, but you got rent due. What are you going to do? I'll just pay my rent with my income and I could pay the utility bill right quick with my credit card. Or I'll just get some groceries on my credit card. You know, it won't hurt anything and I'll pay it right back off when I get paid. Usually it doesn't happen that way. Then you end up paying the minimum because you're going to carry that balance over every month and you're going to end up with interest. So that's when the cycle starts. Well, we need to break our cycle of needing more credit and instead creating more income. I'm not going to go into that part too much because that would be considered talking about the solutions, and I'm not ready for that. But there are strategies that we can use to escape the rat race, as I call it. Bob Marley said it best when he sang about it. It's the rat race. It's just constantly spinning your hamster wheel on a revolving door of debt. And it's fine to have your necessary debts, but what's most important is that you get rid of those unnecessary or unwanted interest bearing debts. So that's what I do. I have found a way to become debt free. At one point in time in my life, I was, my goodness, I couldn't even see the light of the of the sky in the ocean. I was so far down and deep down in continuous debt. I had at that time I was married. My ex-husband had a injury, and I was the only caregiver at that moment. You'll never, and we haven't even gotten into the need for accident insurance. We haven't even talked about that. It's so much that I have to talk about in 15 days, but I'm going to keep it simple. What I'm saying is that albeit I had a very good job, I was doing well. I was working at home. My kids were homeschooled. I was happy with what I was doing. It wasn't enough for one person's income. So at some point in time, I had to realize that I need a backup plan. So I'm actually working, I'm paying all the bills, but I'm not having anything extra going forward. And I fell into that debt cycle as well. But at some point, I did wake up, and it takes you to look at yourself. It takes you to actually open up your books. Sometimes that's the hardest thing we could ever do is we know we have messed up so much. We have so much on us. It's really hard to just stop for a minute, get a grip, look at what you're in, and also try to work and plan around fixing it. So eventually I had to do that, not to mention a year ago, the wonderful job that I had working from home, um, outsourcing ended. That's a part of the game of owning your own business. Things happen. You move from business to business, but that's the most important goal. You move from business to business. I was fortunate enough to be able to get a job outside of the home that actually took the amount that I was getting and kept it there. I was able to still make the same amount that I was making comfortably with my home business. But I did learn my lesson. Never put your eggs in one basket. I learned that it's always important to have multiple avenues of income. So now I'm back into it. I enjoy, my passion is speaking to people and educating people and helping people along the way. So I just decided to do it in a different way. And what better way to help my community than providing sound financial education, not necessarily advice, because I'm not telling you the best stocks to get or the best mutual fund or the best IRA. That's not what I'm here for. But I'm here to do exactly what I had to do, and that is help you to see that it doesn't have to be the way that it is. If you're in debt, you don't have to be. There are ways and proven strategies that can help you to overcome some of these obstacles that we've put on ourselves. I know me, I am a clothes and shoes junkie. I can tell you that now, and that's where a lot of my money has gone into clothes and shoes, not only for myself, but for my daughters. When you have girls, you have to accessorize, you have to have things for them. So, yes, I've done my fair share of mall hopping and store shopping. But in the end, at some point, you have to take a break and sit back and assess some of your damages and figure out how you can resolve those issues. And that's what I'm here for. So I challenge you, if you have not done so, take a look at what you have. Take a look at your monthly expenditures versus what you bring in. And if you're spending more than you bring in, then you definitely should be talking to me. Leave your comments below. See if I can help you. Also, for those who have inboxed me, oh my God, I've had such an overwhelming response to my first video. I will be getting back in contact with you over the night. As a matter of fact, this is my time. Midnight is my favorite time to really get in and be able to quietly um, do my business. I give no less than 2 hours of business time to make sure that I can bring forth some of this information to you all. So if you've inboxed me, I will be getting back to you by the time you wake up in the morning. This is Candace Ivory, your financial wealth therapist, speaking to you today about debt. If you or anyone you know is in a situation where you really would like to escape the rat race, you really are in need of, reducing your debt, reducing your expenditures versus, and also increasing your increasing your income, then please speak to me. Let me know. We all can help. It's been good talking to you. Thank you for your time.